and they dodged it once.
In the same meeting?
Yes,
okay.
yes, actually. I won't say their name, but I'll say they're from Metro West. National defense.
Narrow it down because they all live there. Sorry.
No longer in their heads.
Well played, well played. But Marissa, given the ever-changing, evolving threats that face the United States, internet-based, lone wolf style, and state-sponsored, what do you see as the best strategy in supporting national defense? Increase troop levels, strengthen defenses with new systems, or go on a proactive approach to preempt any type of oncoming possible attack, say an internet-based attack?
Well, it's an excellent question, and so, as an immigration attorney, I have a background in working with the Department of Homeland Security, from its creation, which was sort of a nightmare. And so, I'm going to answer your question, but my position would be, we'll bring the troops home and focus here on hardcore police and federal, conjunction of local police and federal police in doing what really catches terrorists, which is police. Day to day, it's the tedious, boring stuff that doesn't make the news, but that's the way they caught. Remember the, not the shampoo bombers, but when they were, in England, when they couldn't bring liquids on planes anymore, those people were caught, those terrorists were caught by solid police work. And so that's where we should be putting our funding. And I'll give you an example of how I know this firsthand, is that when we went from the INS to DHS, oh my God, it's still being ironed out, but it was a giant mess. And the FBI, we would wait for fingerprint clearances for 18 months. Now, I don't know about you, but my definition of safety does not include somebody's fingerprints being on hold for 18 months at DHS because, at the FBI, because if they're on hold, they're not processing this person. I mean, it doesn't take them that long to actually do the fingerprint check, but it's because of the backlog. And so this person, if they're a terrorist, they're sitting in a backlog of 18 months. That's crazy. Why don't we have the funds for the FBI to be processing background checks on a normal basis? Now, over the last 2 years, they've caught up, and the security clearances are kind of going more efficiently. But with that background, that's why I say that our resources should be focused.
Is that something that Obama's going to get credit for?
I don't know. They don't talk about it. They don't sell it. They're good at marketing their own success. But with ports being inspected at what, about 2%, that's atrociously low.
We're significant threat.
It is. How about the nuclear after 9/11 when they had the test cases of people going on, investigators going to nuclear plants, and they got through like 80% of the time. And, there was a blip about it in the news, and then it fades away. So, we can have foreign troops all over the world, but then what are we doing for homeland defense? And we're really not spending it there, and I think that we should be. And what we shouldn't be doing are things like I said this in the debate, funding proxy wars was in Somalia where there was no Al-Qaeda presence. The ambassador in that area said, maybe there were about 10 before we got involved, and then we helped Ethiopia send troops into Somalia, and now there's Al-Shabaab, I think it is, yes, is a very big presence now. So we created a terrorist haven where there was none before, where we could have taken those resources and, New Jersey, my brother-in-law works for the Port Authority, he's an environmental engineer, so, talk about being vulnerable. New Jersey, New York, our ports up into our port in Boston, liquid natural gas, all of those things. And so that's on the that's on the terrorist level, but even on the local level, like let's talk about having the funds for police. And then in Kansas, now they just decriminalized domestic violence because they don't, I don't know if people see this.
I heard a little bit about that. Yeah. Do you know a little bit more about that?
I only know the very basics. They're kind of trying to get out of it by saying, well, it's technically still a state crime, so it's just the state, the city and the county aren't going to take care of it. The city, it's basically a city-county fight. The city's saying we're decriminalizing it, let the county take care of it. And so I have a lot of questions, like for example, if you're decriminalizing domestic assault, doesn't it still qualify as a assault, and can't the state still prosecute? So I don't know all of those details, but I just know it's a money issue, because they're saying they don't have the funds, so they're just gonna decriminalize domestic violence, so let's just decriminalize murder and hardcore drugs, and because we can't pay for it, it's really, really weak and pathetic that we're, like, that's what it's coming to. Instead of having the fight about people at the top paying their fair share and having, a real tax system where, quite frankly, businesses and people at the top, Republicans throw the word patriot around a lot. I say, isn't it patriotic if you're a company in the United States to pay your taxes because you get all the benefits of being an American company? If you don't like it, you don't like paying taxes here, then go have your business somewhere else. Oh, and they'll say we will. So if you want to go to China, fine. Then we're going to stick a reimportation tax on your goods when you try to bring them back here. I mean, it's about playing hardball. And so when you have things like, it's not just going to be Topeka, it's going to be other places. It's going to decriminalize things like domestic assaults, and no one wants to talk about how to pay for these things. But I will.
You answered my first question very well, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
My second question is for Homeland Defense, would you be supportive of increasing funding to the Defense Department for new types of programs to help law enforcement monitor, prevent, and mitigate any type of event should it happen on U.S. soil? Would you be supportive of increasing that type of funding so that resources can be used?
Well, when you say monitoring, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I want to make like the big point.
Biological detection, any type of agent dispersed in the public. Like what they have now, technology is you can detect small amounts of radiation, you can detect small amounts of biological materials, chemical materials. Would you be supportive of providing funding to defense research to improve those technologies so that they're more accurate, so that you're not getting false positives?
Okay, you're not talking about like surveillance and stuff
No,
like that. Patriot. No. Okay, sorry, because I'm very, obviously strong supporter of civil liberties. So you're talking about things like when we go to the airport and they swab their
because
their hands.
They need to be more efficient.
Yes, and facial people love facial recognition, but there's a lot of false positives and those things. I mean, I believe in science and engineering, and so I would, the money should be going into good research. And again, things like dual-use technology, those things can not just be used for military or defense purpose, but could also be used in medical area, and so then it's a win-win. So we can make sure that we can serve both purposes.
I have a question. It's a campaign question. This is the first time I've really heard much about you or had a chance to talk to you face to face. How competitive can you be in terms of raising money to run a campaign, serious campaign?
I can be competitive, as I said from the beginning. Like, we're just beginning our serious fundraising now. I purposely chose over the last 6 months to lay a ground game. I also had my full-time practice that I was kind of wrapping up some cases, and I use so I don't need to raise as much. I don't need to raise the most amount of money. I need enough to be competitive, and sort of the paradigm that I've been using is Paul Wellstone. This was in a general election, but it can apply to a primary as well. But he was outspent 7-1 and still beat the entrenched Republican incumbent. So I look at about a 7-to-1 ratio or a 10-to-1 ratio, because you can raise a couple $1 million, but you're also spending a couple $1 million on high-priced consultants and pollsters, and that's not what I'm spending my money on. What I'm spending my money on is being able to get out and talk to people. And it was interesting because for the debate, someone had said to me, other candidates were utilizing resources of the state party or doing debate prep, and they were like, you didn't ask for any help. I'm like, I'm come ready made. I don't need to be prepped by a consultant or told what to say. I mean, for 15 years, I've been in a federal area of practice, developing my ideas of how I think the government should run, and I share those with people. I don't need to be mediated. My message doesn't need to be mediated by someone who thinks they have a better idea, or don't say X because that's going to make these voters mad, and don't say Y because that's going to make these voters mad. I know some of the things I say, people aren't going to agree with them. But the whole point of me getting in this race is that I'm really tired of the mediocrity that we continue to be served in terms of candidates who listen to all of these consultants and we just consistently lose. So I'm doing it differently in that I need money. I'm not saying I don't. And anybody that wants to, join my campaign, welcome. But I'd say about 10 to 1 ratio. And that poll actually even blows my ratio out of the water because in the Boston Herald, I mean, yeah, I was at 4%, but I was 1 point ahead of Alan Casey, and he has 100 times more money than I have. So I'm only going up.
In reference to Social Security, Social Security now, I'm retired from the county, which is now the state.
Congratulations.
No.
Being retired.
Oh yeah, it's been a great ride. But I have more than enough quarters in. I'm building quarters because I'm working in retirement.
Oh, okay.
But I'm still only gonna get 20% of what's due.
Right, because you took earlier.
No, because I'm collecting municipal pension. But there are certain state agencies that are exempt from that, i.e. the Port Authority.
Oh, right, and there's.
What do you think you're gonna be able to do? And there's 6 states, I guess, I heard there's 6 states in the country that are in the same situation.
I need to learn more about this. Now, this was in the news a year ago, so there's certain.
I don't know, this changed.
There's certain state employees, there's a divide.
If you're in an
as to who-
agency, like our authority, I guess.
Authority does,
well, it's Reagan put this in place in the early 80s with
Yeah.
the Social Security Reform Act, and it's called you've heard the term WEP, Windfall Elimination Provision,
Right.
or the Government Pension Offset, and that's what would affect him. And anybody in Massachusetts that retires with a pension, if they have the Social Security quarters to get a Social Security benefit on top of the pension, their pension is offset. I mean, not their pension, Social Security is offset by a certain percentage, depending on, number one, the size of their pension, and number two, the years of service they had in Social Security. I think the good thing about it is well, she's not the Speaker of the House anymore, but Nancy Pelosi was in one of those states as well. California, I think Illinois is one of them.
Illinois, New York,
Massachusetts,
Texas.
yeah. Bonnie Frank has been a big advocate of reforming this. But it's not really fair because number one, if you're a federal employee, you get both.
Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah, a federal employee, there's no offset in your Social Security.
and in most states of the union, you
Yeah.
get both, except for 6 states.
Yeah. But we don't
So-
pay into Social, I wanna make that clear.
That's- okay,
We don't
right.
pay into Social Security when we're working in the public sector. We can take other jobs on the side and get some quarters in Social Security. But some people may do 20 years in Social Security and then get into the public sector and say, okay, I
Right.
got my quarters in Social Security. When they go to retire, they'll get a pension, whatever they earn in Social Security. If you get that statement every year that says you're gonna get $1,000,
Right.
you go to Social Security and say, sorry, you only get 400.
Right.
That's not fair.
No, it's not, because they're basing it on, the end number, like
Right.
they're looking at the aggregate of what you're earning instead of what you actually put in.
Right.
Because now they're because if you put the money in, if you funded it, then by calculation, that money should be there, and, when you come back to collect it, so.
But you go into any private pension fund, when you're done, you get to collect your pension.
Right.
And your Social Security.
Right.
Why are we penalized?
I don't know, why are you?
I don't know.
The law was put in the 80s.
You're the lawyer.
Well, I mean, obviously,
But
because.
it's not your forte, I know, but I'm throwing something out that you can ask somebody.
Because if you're in the private sector, you're paying into both. Your company's
wouldn't be getting
pension
the-
plan plus you're paying in Social Security.
But the example, Dennis.
Right.
But you have to pay into the Social Security, even if, like you just said, you might have worked in a public, job for a certain amount of years after or before you then put in your Social Security quarters.
Well, before, yes, in the
Right.
private sector. Right now, I do work for the county and I don't pay anything into Social Security.
Right, so if you never paid into Social Security and you worked your public sector job your entire career, you wouldn't collect
No.
Social Security.
But no,
No.
But if you work a combination,
Right, and as long as
That's-
you
you're screwed.
accrue those quarters, then you should get.
I was a
You're not.
Teamster prior to going to the county. I had 10 years, I had a vested pension. Granted, I couldn't touch it till I turned 64. I turned 64, and I'm getting a minimum, and it's based on what it was when I got out of it, 1980. But, all right, I'm getting $204 a month. What's 204? Not a hell of a lot, but you know what? It's mine.
Right,
It's
right,
due
you
me.
put in.
That's what I'm looking from the federal government.
I agree. So it's only 6 states that it affects right now.
Yeah.
And Barney Frank and who else, like they just, they
Yeah, I
don't,
mean,
they don't have to vote, basically.
it's called the WEP and the government pension offset. You know, future debates, it could come up, and it might be something worth, reading about.
Absolutely.
It does, I mean, we are a state that's affected by that, and it's become a major issue. I don't know if you've had any opportunity to speak with, Ralph White, who's the president of the Massachusetts Retired State County Municipal Employees. A big, it's a nonprofit think tank, if you will, that really supports the seniors, the retirees, and so forth. And his staff has worked hard with the legislature in Washington to try to get this thing on the table.
Right.
Just to get it discussed
Right.
for years.
Yeah, no, I would be on board with, and I'd actually obviously like to look more into it, but I mean,
But now you get something to think about.
it's a pretty mathematical calculation you put in. I mean, like I say all the time, Democrats never respond to Republicans when they call Social Security an entitlement. You Republicans throw that around like a dirty word instead of Democrats saying the obvious, it's an entitlement because we earned it. We put the money in, and what you're saying is, you put the money in, you should be
The strange thing is they send me the they don't do the statements anymore, but they send me the statement, and it says, if you reach age, actually you're gonna get this, but they don't know. That I got like 15 years of zeros, but I got 20 years of,
So they don't even have a software program that can differentiate?
Well, you can log onto their website, but the statement, it
I mean,
doesn't say
but
that.
then
All of a sudden,
send
I
you-
think in my mind, I'm gonna walk down Social Security when I turn 65,